What's cracking, everybody? We're back with another episode of World 1-1 Podcast. Before we get into all the usual fuckery, you can and should find us at our home at Podbean, which is world11.podbean.com, all spelled out, all one word. The other fun places you can find us are Apple Podcasts, because iTunes is dead, Google Play Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, the YouTube channel. If you search for World 1-1 Podcast, you'll find us there and all the fun stuff. There's actually a good handful of new content going up over the course of this week, including some unboxings, some Let's Plays, some pipe streams, as well as episodes of the podcast. And then, of course, over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/World11 Podcast, all spelled out, where we are currently working. We'll talk about it as we get into games of the week and some other stuff that's coming up. But in any case, all that out of the fucking way, I am, as always, your host, Larry the Bearded Wonder. Joining me this week, Eddie, the new Adrian, back from the dead.
I have thoughts on Darksiders Genesis, and it's gonna make someone upset.
Hey, you're within driving distance, so you watch what you say.
Apparently, all the time away from us has started to age you, Eddie. From what I saw.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I saw your bullshit on Twitter.
Hey.
He's thinking he's all cool and stuff.
No, he's just getting old.
Yeah, we all are.
Ain't that the truth? Also joining me tonight, Josh the LeGroux.
Hello, guys.
And last but not least, Michael the new guy.
All right, I'll accept it.
Damn right you will.
You're also within driving distance. Keep talking shit.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, I don't remember how to get to your house anyway.
Wow.
He lives amongst a bunch of other houses, and they all look the same in that neighborhood. So, which means I'm just going to have to burn down the whole neighborhood.
Wow.
You got to do what you got to do.
No shit. Hell. All right. So, enough fucking nonsense. Let's jump straight to, oh my god, video games. Since I haven't seen your goofy mug in a while, Eddie, give me your two big ones for the last week. What have you been into?
So, my two big ones has been Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Been playing that, getting really far into that game. I think I'm halfway through. Right now, I'm at the part where I'm just doing some side quests for my characters, so they could raise their performa, up and get new powers and weapons and stuff. So, right there.
Talking about Persona, that's a thing we're not getting on Switch. Remember?
Yeah, I really wouldn't want Persona 5 on Switch. I think it's too late. I would prefer give me Persona 3 FES. I would rather have that on Switch, and probably Persona 4 Golden.
You like Persona
Switch.
a lot? Eddie?
Yeah, I liked it. I
Okay.
played it when it first came out to PlayStation 1.
Okay.
So
Sure.
the only one I haven't played two. One I did 1, 4, and 5. I haven't beat it. And I never got to play 2. I think it's out here. I think it's on PSN. But I gotta find a way to get a copy of that, because I do want to play that game. But Persona 3 FES is the only Persona game that I beat. I'm working on 5 for PS4, but I need to return to it and get through that game. So, but yeah, Tokyo Mirage Session has been taking up a lot of my time with it. Tried Darksiders Genesis. It's okay. It's nothing. I think if they didn't have war and it literally was just what's his name in it, I think it would have been a Strife. Yeah, I think it would have been a better game in a sense. I think it's still just, it feels empty at points. Like you might fight maybe 3 to 10 enemies, and then that thing is over with. That fight is over with, and you just run to the next section and then it feels empty for a good minute, 2 minute, and it gets a little bit repetitive. But it's a fine game. I'm not mad at it. I do enjoy some parts of it, but I was just like, I was so hyped for it, and I was just like, this is, yeah. I mean, it feels like a Darksiders game, so I'm not mad at it or anything. I think if it was just like a straight twin shooter with some fast action dodging and stuff, I think it would have been a better game for me personally. But I guess people who enjoyed it play co-op. They're liking it. It looks good. It runs fine. Uh, I have nothing else to say. It's better than Darksiders 3. I will say that. But
I think it's a lot more fun than Darksiders 3.
Yeah, that game needs to be optimized so bad.
I loved the story to it, but the gameplay itself was a fucking slog. As I said, it was difficult getting through the game just because it was tedious. But anyway, sorry.
No, I agree. I agree with you. And that one fight with, what is that fight with the double bosses? With the black guy that
Ucio and Lust.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Fuck that fight.
I hated that fight so bad.
Apocalyptic. I was stuck on that fight for 2 days.
Yeah. So, that's fine. It's a fine game. But yeah, just another game. The second major game I've been playing is Knack on PS4. I owned it with kind of like a few years ago after the sister came out, and I was just like, you know what? I'll give this game a try. Played a little bit. I'm like, it's not my cup of tea yet. But I kind of want to finish it for our my backlog challenge. Trying to get that game finished and stuff. And this, I don't know, Sony intentions of making their platformers for kids never feel like a game for kids. There's a difficulty that ramps up to some of their kid games, and sometimes their controls just don't work well. So it really feels like you need to be a teenager or a more experienced player. 6 or 7-year-old wouldn't want to play this. They can play a Mario game, but they can't play like Sony's platforming games, like Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just like when they try to make platformers for their system, those companies never do a good job. They tune it to where it's hard enough and easier for adults and stuff to play, but not kids, in a sense. So,
okay.
They went for the childlike aesthetic, but that's where the child stuff stopped.
Yeah.
Which game were we talking about here?
Knack in a lot of their platforming games, like Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter. Like some of their even Spyro and Crash Bandicoot back in the PS1 days, because they control so bad and so difficult at times, kids wouldn't be able to enjoy it. Where if they play Mario 64, they're easier to understand. The control is precise and it's easier. The challenge is easier for kids to get into. Not those games. They too much repetitive. Like if they die, they put you back to a long checkpoint, and you got to do a lot of the boss fights all over again, which could take 5 to 7 minutes long for a lot of their games. And a child who are into those games and want to play them, they would give up on it because they might die a lot, and they got to do that whole process over and over. And this only just for Sony. Nintendo knows how to do a platformer because.
Well, that's kind of their fucking bread and butter, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
that's what they do.
Yeah, so pretty much that's my 2 big ones. I have other ones, but those are the only one I want to mention. I did get Kanai, of course, and I have Devil May Cry 3, but I'll talk about those another time.
Okay. Since we've already kind of tapped on it, I want to hear the other side of the coin that I'm sure liked it a whole lot better. Michael,
Yeah, all I'm playing is the new Darksiders still. I finished the story yesterday, and overall I'm very happy with it. Like as I said, it's a lot of fun, especially like I said, like we were talking about, in comparison to 3, which 3 was just like I loved the story of 3, but it was very tedious. I honestly think Strife might be my favorite of the Horsemen at this point.
His voice acting is pretty good. I like whoever voiced acted him.
I forget his name. He's the only one that I didn't recognize at all. But like, I like the fact that he doesn't take shit seriously at all, and it's because he's hiding something. Like he doesn't like himself at all. Like I said, I really enjoy the character.
Did they ever say what it was?
Sorta. They touched on it briefly. That he mentions the concept. Like I don't know how far you are in, Eddie. I don't want to spoil anything if you're into it, but Eddie.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm still kind of like at the beginning. I only played it for like about an hour. So okay. There's more I gotta play, but you can go ahead and talk about that. I'm not worried about being spoiled or anything.
Okay. He mentions the concept that like even before the war and where they killed off all of their own people, mm-hmm. which he's not taking that well at all. He was already a contract killer, and he's done a lot of ugly things, and it weighs on him, especially after what they were tasked to do. He doesn't trust the council at all, and there's a lot of things like that it just, as I said, I like the character a lot. I'm really anxious to see where it goes from here. Because that was one thing I actually really liked about 3 was that it kind of shows that where Strife has been the whole time too. So as I said, I'm curious to see what's next. Okay. Apparently the rumor is some kind of DLC that involves the other 2 horsemen, which I'd be okay with that. Okay. I honestly think one of my biggest complaints about the game is I really wish that when you switched from like Strife to War, I wish when you switch to War it would close in a little bit more, so you got more of like the first game's gameplay, like maybe not directly over the shoulder, mm-hmm. but because that's I think one of my biggest complaints about the game is like there's so much gorgeous art and you could barely see any of it because it's all so tiny on the screen.
Okay.
Like I didn't actually really get to see Strife's ultimate form until I got the art book.
Yeah, I still feel like this series story-wise is problematic. I think it's not perfect. It's very comic booky. I'll admit that. But it's not.
I love it.
It's not so much comic booky. It's just so much garbage of excuses on how this thing is supposed to be. Like Darksiders 1. Sorry, everybody. Darksiders 1 Darksiders 1 is supposed to start the game with war, and at the end, the 3 horsemen come. But Darksiders 2 is happening while Darksiders 1 is happening, so that means Darksiders 3 also supposed to be happening on one part where part 1 is happening, and then Genesis happening. When it's just like, where did all 3 of them come from at the end of 1?
Genesis happens right after they become the horsemen. Like so, Genesis is a prequel to all of it.
Right.
Yeah, like as that's why one thing that I also really enjoy about just the minor detail is War is not as jaded as he is in the first game. Because in the first game he's bitter and basically broken. Honestly, yeah. He disdains everything. In this, he's duty bound and like very stoic, but he still has high hopes for what they're doing. And like this again, minor spoiler, but the ending kind of very much hints towards the future things that we already know happen in the story. Mm-hmm. And Strife doesn't trust it, but War is still optimistic about it. Which, as I said, I think is a very interesting take on the whole thing.
But then War is supposed to leave. They're all supposed to go their separate ways until one actually starts, until America or Earth started getting attacked, and then that's when War comes back. So when War comes back, Darksiders 3 is happening at that same time, supposedly. But
now, are you talking the actual apocalypse at the beginning of that game, or
the
because the apocalypse, he's summoned for the apocalypse.
right?
Supposedly the seal was broken. It was supposed to summon all of them, but only he was summoned. Which, again, spoiler to the series. What is it? The council knew about. They were framing War for the whole thing. Because they knew he'd be a good patsy for this, and he would slaughter everyone involved to clear his own name. So then, like, after it's 100 years between the actual beginning of that game, the apocalypse, and then when they send him back. And during that 100 years is when Fury is running around doing her bullshit, and during that same 100 years is when Death is doing his story.
Okay.
And during during Fury's story, as I said, you do get glimpses that's where Strife has been too.
But that's why I say it's confusing. Sorry, we'll move on. That's why it's confusing that while War is doing,
say we can.
But War and what's her name? Forgot
Fury.
about it. Fury. They're both on Earth doing their same adventure, while Death is doing his. Because they said that Darksiders 2 is running when Darksiders 1 is happening, and Darksiders 3 is supposed to be when after she sees War got captured or whatever, she's doing a favor for them, and then you don't see War no more. So all three games supposed to be happening all at the same time.
Roughly. No, as I said,
and that's the confusing thing. It's just like, why did y'all create a story that at the ending of one, you made the conclusion that all three of them came back? So Darksiders 2 was literally supposed to lead into where all four of them are on Earth, and the story is supposed to progress that way.
That's why I was so excited for 2 initially, was because I thought they were going to continue the story. But instead, as I said, each of them tells a prequel story leading all of them to the same point where the seal was broken and they're all summoned. Because that's, as I said, that's what I want to know. How does them as a group, as siblings, deal with the concept of knowing that the people they work for is who betrayed them all? Like, that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Okay.
Chris, Jai, Alex. But yeah, as I said, chronologically, technically speaking, the first game is the last one. Because the second and third game take place slightly before it. Pretty much at the same time. And then, as I said, the Genesis takes place millennia ago.
Right.
Like, that one takes place... Yeah, right after they slaughtered all the other Nephilim.
Yeah, still a confusing mess. But
I was going to ask if this all tracks for you yet, Eddie.
No,
but
it's not as bad as the Soul Reaper series.
Oh yeah, good lord. And I understand what you're saying. It was just that the developers who were talking about this game gave the story and set it up that way. So I'm just like, sure. How did you guys? You can't jumble a story. You can't say one thing and then produce something else that completely happened. If you should have just made Darksiders 2 where all three of them came back and then one of them had to go on their journey or something. Like continue one, have all the three come back, and then let them all go on their separate journey before they have to conclude it. So that you can understand. I'm pretty
sure they're just milking this series for as much as they can. But also after each game, I don't know if they're aware that whether or not they're actually going to be able to continue it. Which, as I said, if they don't actually finish the fucking story, I'm going to hunt everybody down involved.
Well, they have to.
I need to know how it ends.
I'm sure worst case you'll get a comic book.
I'm okay with that. Like the two prequel comic books that I have are both fantastic. One of them actually explains how War lost his arm initially.
Yeah.
Death cut it off, actually.
There's a like a story. There's a story breakdown before Darksiders 3 came out that leads up to the comic books and the games and everything. Oh, and I think there was a written novel for it. Yeah,
The Abomination Vault. I have that too.
They talk all about that before you get into Darksiders 3.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. All right. And
I didn't say we're done.
We're done.
Ooh, Keith David plays one of the villains. He's from the Gargoyles cartoon. He plays Goliath.
Yep. Ooh.
Like, I'm a big fan of his.
I might actually turn that on for bedtime tonight.
Gargoyles.
There's been false rumors for years about a live-action movie or a resurgence in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it when I actually see it.
Yeah, exactly. But still, anyway, I'm sorry. Like, you're wrong, Eddie. The game is great.
It's okay. It's okay. That's what I said. It's okay. I just was expecting better. Well,
I'm a big fan of the back and forth between War and Strife. The fact the fact that Strife keeps fucking with him, because War is basically the straight man between the two.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like a buddy comedy.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's actually one point where War says something about cutting people's weapon hands off, and Strife turns to him and says, out of anything you could say, you're really going to make a joke about cutting someone's arm off. Yeah.
They work. That chemistry in the writing works in that game.
Which I think that's kind of why they had to put War in there. Because the way Strife is, he needs somebody to bounce stuff off.
They couldn't have a whole game full of one-liners.
No, because we ended up getting the dude like Duke Nukem Forever out of it. Oh.
We don't need that ever again.
Also, I'm actually really happy that this game didn't turn out to just be a first or third person shooter, because that's what I was expecting.
Well, I was expecting more of it played like a twin stick shooter with a quick dodge mechanic. I think I would have been more into it, because that's what it felt. That's what it feels like when you're playing Strife in this game. Yeah,
I could see that. As I said, once you get a lot more of his powers, he becomes much more versatile. Once you get a lot more of his ammunitions, different ammunitions, there's like 7 different types of ammo he gets, and those all change up your gameplay with him quite a bit. All right. Anyway, we can move on. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I love the series. I'm fucking having a nerdgasm over here.
I know. I've done plenty of that. We all have. It's why we're here.
Yeah.
So, Josh, what have you been playing with your week off of work?
So my parents are here, so I wasn't playing a ton, but I did. I started Dead Cells all over again on my Switch. So I actually am enjoying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you pick up the Bad Seed DLC?
No, not yet. I'm going to though. I actually found a entrance to the DLC, and it says you need the DLC to play, and I'm like, well, I guess I don't have that, so I just kept going. That was my initial intent, was to get the Bad Seed DLC and play with that.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason not to, and it's you get the frying pan alone is a lot of fun to mess with.
It is.
Yeah, so I'm having a lot of fun.
On melee weapons, and I still have fun with the frying pan.
Yeah.
I am disappointed they're not the frying pan chucks from the animated commercial, but still.
So I'm having a lot of fun with that. And then I have Kunai, of course. I picked that up. I'm having a lot of fun with that game. It's I don't know, I would call it an action adventure Metroidvania. It's a little it's not quite as penalizing as some of the other Souls like Metroidvanias out there, but it's fun.
Right. I was just gonna say, like, because it looks kind of like it would compare to like Hollow Knight.
I don't think it would. No.
It has a kind of. It's got a really cool art style, but it's not like Souls like Hollow Knight. It's not
definitely
that unforgiving.
That punishing, yeah.
Yeah, it's not that unforgiving.
I'm like, it feels like a Metroid game mixed with Iconoclast.
I still haven't tried that either.
And I could see that.
with the touch of you want to throw case story in there, but you don't know where to land it at. But it has a case story aesthetic to it, in a sense.
It does. Yeah, I get
Very
that.
much
Eddie.
that lo-fi, yeah.
Yeah,
Not so much in like the not so much in the texture design, but more
Yes.
in like the color.
The color palette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The color palette is very lo-fi, a la Game Boy-ish.
It's it's very monotone so far. I don't know if
Oh, it Alien Hominin, in a sense.
it does look like that. You're right. Have you?
I don't know.
I think
Or Alien Hominin or
Eddie-
Castle Crashers.
Maybe
I think-
closer to Alien Hominid.
I get Alien Hominin more than I get Castle Crashers off of it.
Yeah.
But I really that's a good description of it, Eddie, because that's kind of what it reminds me of, almost like a hand drawn kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah, it's well done. I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy so far. I'm not that far into it. Maybe an hour and a half. I'm just enjoying the game. It's fun, and if you fail on something, it lets you try again with very little punishment for it.
Mhm.
But I can see where it's kind of ramping up, and I'm wondering if it's going to get really difficult in some spots, or if it's just me. I don't know, but that's totally possible either way. So other than that, let me think. I think that's probably the two most I was playing. I was kind of dabbling with here and there because it's on my Switch and I can take it on the go.
Right. All right. What have I been playing? So on the back of that, I myself been delving into kunai. We've actually we've opened some lines of communication with the developer actually about having them on regarding the recent review bombing issue that's come up on Metacritic for kunai. So I'm going to see if we can get that locked down maybe for next week, depending on how fast we can get everything lined up. But in any case, I am enjoying kunai. We were talking beforehand, and I found myself kind of stuck going in circles for a little bit, getting a little irritated because I still don't have the fucking map yet, which was something I was actually kind of thinking about earlier today. I don't think I mind so much games like Hollow Knight where, it takes some work to get to the map, but by the same token, Hollow Knight isn't a game where the map is real-time updating. So it feels less integral to the whole thing, whereas this feels like the map should be there from the jump, a la Super Metroid, and it not being there honestly kind of irritates me a little bit. Granted, it's a minor sticking point in the grand scheme of things that I'm sure will be resolved shortly as I play through it, but it's just a weird gripe that I'm realizing is becoming more and more common with some of the Metroidvania games. They're getting away from just giving you the map from the jump and calling it a day,
Right.
which I don't think I'm a fan of as a whole. There are some games where it feels appropriate, but I don't like the idea that it's becoming the standard. But that aside, though, I'm enjoying it. As we were saying earlier, I think the full price point might be a couple dollars a touch too high, but it's still it's enjoyable for what it is. I'm having a good time with it. It also given the main hook of the game, it actually reminds me a lot of Flint Hook as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. So, but I do like the visual aesthetic, which also I'm going to throw in a quick hit here. Michael saw me playing a little bit of it the other day. Was Squidlet, which is literally just made to be like a Game Boy game. And it's even framed, it's a 4x3 on a widescreen. And so they use all that big blank space on the side to frame it in this, fake Game Boy thing. I love the fact too that like on the left-hand side where the speaker is, instead of, saying speaker like the Game Boy did, it just has this little word written underneath it. It says Doots. And the music is literally just, doot, 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 doot. It's very much Game Boy. It's even got a big like contrast knob on the right-hand side. And if you bump your right stick up or down, it'll move the contrast knob until it like washes out completely like the old Game Boy did, which was a great little touch. It's not atrocious for what it is. I think I got it for like $1 or $2, and I've had some considerable fun with it. For as lo-fi as it is, the main character is delightfully fucking adorable, watching it kind of like walk along, and when you press down while he's just standing there, he just kind of like squats just slightly and is like doot, 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 and does this cute little thing with its eyes, and it's all adorable and shit, and I can't begin to emulate it, but you should look it up. It's funny as shit.
I would like you to try.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Acceptable.
That's all I got.
Wow.
That's good.
So, yeah. Past that, the only other big one is working my way through Hellblade on our Twitch channel, so that we can have that done and out there for the all in lead up to our interview with Sid coming up on the 9th that I'm really looking forward to as well. I'm through the 2 opening sections, so Surtur and Balravin, and just pushed through the gates into Helheim. So there's probably a couple more sittings of that left, and that'll be done again. I'm finding myself definitely less stuck now that I'm playing it a second time, very recently and very fresh as well. A lot of the runes aren't such a pain in the ass to find because it's still kind of fresh in my head. I can look in and go, okay, I vaguely remember there's something kind of in that general vicinity, and if something was particularly odd, it seems to have stuck out in my head enough that it's not a major issue trying to track it down like it was the first time. So, but yeah, that's what I've been playing. So, yeah, with that said, I think we've hit an appropriate place for us to freshen up our glasses of fluo and take a quick break. And we're back with the third half of the show. This week, we're going to head on over to the news desk for the first time in a couple of weeks. So, couple of things. First, we're going to hit the small one. I mean, it's a big deal to a couple of us here, as we were just chattering about it on break. But Super Rare just dropped announcements for 7 upcoming titles that they're putting out physical. Now, I know 4 of them are ones that are on my radar personally. I know the one that both Eddie and I are looking forward to is Sexy Brutal, which is absolutely fantastic. It is probably one of the most interesting murder mystery games I've ever come across. Beyond that, the others that I know I'm looking forward to is going to be SteamWorld Heist. So once that hits, I'll be 1 game away from having the entire SteamWorld series physical on my Switch where it belongs. Yeah. Yeah.
Which one are you missing? The only one they don't have?
Yeah, SteamWorld Dig 1 is the only one that isn't.
Right.
After that, it's the only
The last one that came out, right?
Right. So, but I've got Hand of Gilgamesh. SteamWorld Dig 2 released physical pretty much from the jump. So yeah, just SteamWorld Dig 1 would be the last one to, hopefully somebody will put out physical. Also looking forward to Freedom Finger. I've managed to avoid the double dip. I had actually just been waiting for it to go on sale, but I'm thoroughly looking forward to it.
You haven't bought that yet?
No, I didn't.
Wow, holy shit!
I've been looking at sales. I've been looking at sales when it comes up on it, and I'm like, do I get it? Do I not? I'll have to. Yeah. When you get it, Larry, you'll have to let me know.
I will. I'll probably be puttering around with it on Twitch. And then, oh fuck, I'm blanking on the other one. SteamWorld, Freedom Finger, Sexy Brutal. Shit, that's the other one.
What was it?
Dandara.
Trials of Fear.
Yeah, the one that, because I know, Michael, you got to see a little bit of Dandara and piddle around with it for, a couple days ago. So,
yeah, I have it on my Switch, and I'm like, I don't need physical for this one. If they would, I think if they would have did physical when the game originally came out, I think I would have brought it.
I could see that. I have weird fucking feelings about it. I'm reasonably convinced that there were lots of drugs involved in the development of it. I just don't know which ones. But
it's a cool game, though. It's a cool concept.
It's definitely interesting.
The list of what one should be just in the credits.
Exactly. I really hope that at the very least they put the names of their dealers in the credits. And there were 3 others. Now, Josh, if I remember correctly, there was at least one in there you said you were aiming for, correct?
Darkwood, and well, SteamWorld, of course.
Uh-huh.
But Darkwood was one that kind of hit my radar. I have not played it, to be honest with you, but it just looked like a kind of game I would get into. And
I haven't seen anything on Darkwood, actually.
I think it's just kind of a top-down type game that I just think I'm not really sure about it. I have not looked much into it. I just saw a trailer for it, and I'm like, you know what? That'd be a game I'll at least get physically to try.
Right.
I figured because it was super rare, even if I didn't like it, it would be worth something. I could either get rid of it or.
Right.
I hate to say that, but that's kind of like where I'm at with physical copies sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's Assault Android Cactus Plus.
Yep. I've seen a few people popping up that they're really pumped for that one, actually.
Yeah, I have
I've
no idea.
I've never heard of that game.
Neither.
No, I mean, so I have no idea what it's like. I should probably look up a trailer to look at it. And then Mextermination Force, which I have no idea what that game is about, but it sounds awesome.
I don't know either, but I do see something as far as Mextermination Force that's just caught my interest, is that it's from the same guys that did Gunman Clive.
Oh, yeah, Horberg. Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and I liked Gunman Clive.
Yeah,
the art
really
style
good.
of Gunman Clive reminded me of that old kid's book about the carrot.
Ah.
Yeah.
So that that art style alone endeared me to Gunman Clive.
So the tagline for this game is battle against massive bosses, jump and climb onto them to find their weak spots and blow them to kingdom come in this action-packed platforming boss rush from the creator of Gunman Clive.
What was it called again?
Extermination Force.
Yeah. I know about that one.
This kind of sounds like indie Shadow of the Colossus, then.
I think it's kind of that way.
I could get behind that.
Every time I look at it, though, I think of Mega Man. I don't know why.
It's the art style, I think.
Yeah, the art style looks very like a weird cross between Contra and Mega Man.
Like cartoony, but not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. I may have to put that on my radar too. So, but yeah, so a whole barrage of stuff that's coming from Super Rare over the course of the year. No dates on any of these yet, but
just within this next year
that it's coming, along with their big one that they're pushing right now. They're doing orders on, which is World of Goo, which
almost sold out, by the way.
Yeah, that's a rare one I'm passing on, actually.
I am too.
As much as it's an indie darling, and I mean they even had the steelbook. I'm looking at going, I feel like that my time for World of Goo has come and gone, and it's just not one I see myself ever going back to.
It's not.
I mean, I've got it. Yeah, I've got it digital on my Switch, and I've barely touched it. It played a little peculiar on Switch too, actually, with the
compared
the
to
pointer
the
control.
Compared to the Wii version.
Yeah,
Was it Wii?
It was.
Yeah.
Yep. because Wii was World of Goo was like one of the first big WiiWare games at the time.
Yes, it
If
was.
that would not, if that would have came, we would have came. That game would have came to Wii physically. Yeah, I would have brought it.
Yeah, that would have done gangbusters, and it would have done wonders, I think, for the Wii Shop channel at the
Yeah.
WiiWare section at the time. But yeah, so oh well, its time has passed, I think. But I will say though, it is a pretty steelbook. I'll give it that.
It is.
It's that alone is not enough for me to throw down my monies.
How much is it going for?
I think the steelbook might be sold out already.
I think it
Meh.
is, but
It's just the standard editions left.
I'll look at it.
My guess is 35 for the standard.
Oh, 32.35 for the standard edition.
Yeah. I don't remember what the steelbook was. I didn't look.
And with a lot of these games, you got to realize too, like that is in that's in the UK.
Euro.
Yeah, well, 32.35 is American dollars, but you have to pay like $10 to get it shipped to you.
Right.
So I mean, it comes out being about $40 a game for US.
Yeah.
Which
Uh,
I gotta really want it to get that.
Uh-huh.
Right.
The one that I just sent you guys in the chat, that Battle Axe or whatever. I literally just threw money at the Kickstarter, and I was actually happy that the shipping, even though it's coming from the UK, shipping was only $8.
Yeah, that's worth
That's
it.
not bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
That's about
well.
what it cost them to ship it here.
yeah. Well, I paid. I think it cost me a total of $58. Like maybe something like that, because I bought the deluxe physical edition that came with obviously the physical edition of the game. I think like a steel book, and then like one of the perks was one of the villagers that needs to be rescued will be named after me, and I was like, all right, fuck it, that's worth it. Like it looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. So.
Watch, they're going to get the spelling on your name wrong.
Oh no!
Oh,
I'll stab somebody.
Probably.
That's actually happened in a few things. Because I do Kickstarter. I do Kickstarters quite a bit actually.
Yeah.
And because at first they used to not send out the backer kits now that they do now, and so a lot of them it got to the point where I would literally have to contact them personally, be like, "Yo, spell this right, or I'll stab you."
Wow.
Yeah. Although I have a weird habit that anytime I throw money at a Kickstarter, it turns out kind of mediocre. Like I Kickstarter Indiegogo a lot of CDs, and when I finally get it, it's like meh. I think the only game that I've actually done was I've done Bloodstain was actually worth it. Mighty Number 9 was not.
Ew.
And yeah, and what was the other one? The Indivisible was okay. Like it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't
Amazing.
yeah. I don't know, sorry, I got sidetracked like usual.
Oh, it's all right. And I'm going to throw one LRG announcement in there too, because it's near and dear to me personally, as I'm sure it probably is, at least for LeGru as well. LRG is doing a 4-week open pre-order for Real Mist Masterpiece Edition on Switch.
I know.
So
It'll
only be the 5 millionth time we've all bought Mist.
I never played Miss, so
Really?
never played it. Never had no interest in it.
Wow.
It's a point and click, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I know.
the original quintessential.
Yeah, I know of Miss when it came out on PC back in the day, but I have no interest in it.
The thing about Myst is if you played it on the PC back in the day, it was mind blowing.
Yes.
And then when you figured out how they actually made it, like a lot of the sounds, like water dripping, they got from a toilet. That like the guy put a mic like in the toilet and like flushed it, and then wait till it drips. I mean, there was like, and then like one of those, they put a guy like a mic up to his stomach, and they just fed him like a bunch of pizza. You know, it's like to get like the gurgling sounds. You're like, you know what? That's cool. That was some really cool shit back in the day. And I remember, I just don't know if I want to play that game again.
I do actually. I'm on board for it. I don't believe I've ever actually played that particular version or edition.
Right.
The real Masterpiece edition. So I'm there for it. And as far as I can tell, they're just doing a standard edition. So no ridiculous big box collections, which I'm perfectly okay with.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I don't think anything is going to top the insane link book stuff that they did for the complete anthology on PC physical Kickstarter a while ago. That shit was awesome.
I wish I
Holy
knew
hell.
about that. Honestly, I'm
Mhm.
kind of glad I didn't, because I would have threw money at that shit. But
Yeah, I would have loved to have had money to get my hands on that, but so
I'm waiting for my Divinity 2 from LRG.
yeah. So, but yeah, so that's physical news and announcements. But the big story though floating around this week is all the nonsense going on at GameStop. The interviews that have been going around with employees and managers, past and present, with all just kind of the stress and anxiety looming over the fact that, you know, yet another round of stores is being closed, and that every time you turn around, it seems like GameStop is just flailing in the dark, trying to get something to stick, and nothing's fucking working. And I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts. I mean, I have one big thought, but I kind of want to hear your guys' take on this whole mess. So I'm going to toss over to Josh since he threw it in chat.
okay, so I mean, first of all, my first thought, and I think everybody here shares this thought, that if you're an employee of GameStop and you're going through some of this stuff, it totally sucks. And I'm sorry for you, because I mean, I know retail, you don't make a lot of money, and it's a real service-based industry. And I feel sorry for you guys if you're going through this and you don't know that you're getting laid off, or if like they come up to the day before you're laid off and just say you're done, and you don't have anything, or you're a young kid and you just don't have any money saved, because that, I mean, things are expensive. So I understand that. I feel sorry for you guys. My whole take on the whole GameStop phenomenon is I'm going to personally be sad when GameStop is gone, like the physical store is gone. I still feel like they're going to have an online presence in some way, because they have a massive warehouse that they have a lot of retro games, and they're kind of catering to the retro gamer. But I don't feel that they're doing this the right way at all.
Oh.
And I feel that it created a lot of, like, there's a lot of memes, like everybody's saying, we all tease as gamers, we all tease, don't trade something into GameStop or whatever. But this kind of whole thing is, I think we're going to be sad when it's actually gone, because I mean, there's going to be not really many places to get used games. You're not going to be able to sell games back to many. I think Walmart, Best Buy, they still have their trade-in programs and all that, but it's going to be much less for us as gamers, especially gamers who like to collect stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. As far as trading in goes, I mean, I know I've got a couple of mom and pop options,
Right. I mean,
me.
Where I live, the problem is where I live, if you want to trade in games, that's the only place to do it. There isn't any. I don't have used media stores down here.
It really surprises the hell out of me.
There
honestly.
isn't anything down here like that. The
You should
closest,
start one.
yeah, no kidding, right? The closest, especially because I live in one of the youngest communities in southwestern Florida. Average, the median age is 39 here. So, and so they're all like me. They all play games and everything. But the closest place for me to get used games, like that's not a GameStop, would be like, well, if I wanted to actually like Best Buy and all that, but like an actual used game like media store where they specialize in games and they're kind of like a GameStop.
Yeah,
It's about 90 miles away. And I've gone up there a couple times, and the store is worth it. The store is worth to go to, but it takes me an hour and a half to get up there.
Good God.
That's a one-way trip.
Yeah, that's too much.
So, I mean,
Wow.
I do it like once every 3 months. I go up there, and
Right.
I'm very specific at what I'm looking for. By the time I get up there, I'm just kind of like I'm flabbergasted at what they have, and I just kind of like lose sight of what I'm looking for. So they have a lot of. They did have a Jaguar in box, but it was like $300. I'm like, you know what? It's about right, but the prices are good. They're about right on. But it's just like what by the time I get up there, I just like screw it. I'm just gonna buy a couple games for my Xbox and be done with it.
Yeah. The drive itself was more expenditure than you wanted.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I went up there. The reason was I went up there in the first place was because my work would send me up there quarterly for training, and they would let us out early in the day, and they would say, "Oh, we're going to pay you guys for the rest of your day," because it was a drive home. Well, I would just go over to the game store for an hour, and then I could beat the rush hour traffic and get home a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So now that's kind of like ended. So I'm like, I don't really have a reason to go up there anymore.
Right. That's a shame. And Michael, thoughts?
Not a whole lot. Like, as I said, I've been buying less and less from them. Like, they're a lot of their business practices, their business model kind of disgusts me.
Yeah.
As I said, 90% of the time, the only reason I shop from them is because I can buy a collector's edition and pre-order it a little bit at a time. Like, I don't have to just suddenly figure out where the fuck am I going to get $200 from.
Right.
It's literally like, hey, here's $20. I'll be back next week.
Yep.
You know, which actually, like, that brings up the concept that I pre-ordered the new Mega Man Zero and ZX collection for them.
Yeah.
And I got a message from them, I think it was Friday, saying that I could come pick it up Monday night if I wanted.
Yeah.
And I thought about swinging by after work, and I realized, like, I just don't care that much. Like, and then the more I thought about it, the more it was kind of a weird thing that I realized, like, more than half the games I own for all the newer systems are games that I have, re-releases that I've got for other for other shit.
Right.
And it's just like, that's kind of sad. Like, and this, as I said, this is completely off topic, but it's the simple concept that I have so many, like, there's nothing really new anymore. Like, you know, as I tend to buy the same series over and over and over. Like, doesn't matter what they put out. If it's, you know, a Darksiders game or a God of War game, they could wipe their ass and write Devil May Cry on it. I'm gonna buy it. You know.
Welcome.
Actually, it's not a real Devil May Cry game unless they make me buy it at least 3 times.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, like every Devil May Cry game I have, I've bought at least 3 times. Good little consumer whore.
Yeah, I can sympathize with that on a couple of games myself. So
yeah,
but
I feel disgusting while I'm doing it, but I still fucking do it every time.
Do it, yeah.
And like,
well, that just means that you need to start trying out some new IPs and going out your comfort zone.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, like, the amount of times that I've thought, well, that looks interesting. No, it just turned out to be hot garbage, you know?
Yeah.
Still give it a try. That's the thing. That's the thing about it, is that if you're not willing to give something a try, whether it's questionable content or not, if you stick to the same thing, you can't blame yourself. You can't be like, it's all re-releases. You can't blame yourself, but yourself, because you still are stuck in the same games. So until you step out, you're gonna continue to buy re-releases.
That's true enough. Like, as I said, like, that's the one thing I really like about the Switch is there's so many, like, indie titles and things like that. So many things that, like, that looks great and that's $6. Fuck it, it's worth checking out for $6. I'm not dropping $40, $50, $60 on a game.
That's the real
not
issue.
Gonna like.
Yeah.
You know, like,
but okay, continue to go. I won't say more about that.
Rambling incoherently again. But yeah, like, as I said, GameStop, I kind of, like, part of me was excited when they partnered up with ThinkGeek, because, as I said, we don't really have a toy or novelty type shop like that out here anymore.
Right.
You know, like, we got one comic shop, and they're okay. Like, the people that run it are really sweet people, but they're very conservative with things they have in store.
Mhm.
And I tend to buy a lot of more obscure stuff. And like, the Think Geek has a lot of the video game theme type stuff, like the arm cannon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Statues. I have like a Day of the Dead series of 3 statues of Batman, Harley, and Joker, like that I picked up from them on clearance not long ago.
Yeah.
And just, random stuff like that. They're like really neat, stylized characters. And, but at the same time, like, I also go in there and I'm looking around the store realizing this is all shit I don't need.
Right.
Like, and like the fact that they're used games are usually only like $2 cheaper than a brand new copy, and the fact that 90% of the time you can't get a brand new copy that's still sealed.
Yeah,
that drives
that's
me
a
up.
huge issue for me.
Yeah,
it pisses me off.
Like,
the last time I bought a new game from them, I bought the complete edition of Zero Dawn or whatever. Horizon Zero Dawn. And that game, it was their store copy or whatever. And it was like, oh, it's brand new. We're going to sell it to you for the brand new price. But I'm like, it's not sealed. Yeah. So it's not brand new.
No kidding.
And they'll argue with you about it.
And I'm like, it's not, well, no one's played it. I'm like, yeah, but you fucking opened it. You fucking opened it.
Yeah.
But their logic is that if you really want this game and nobody else has the physical one, and you still not going to buy it digitally, we got you by the balls. So you got decisions to buy it or not buy it, and we could charge you whatever because it is a physical game.
Right.
They know that if you want that physical, they figure that you would do anything and pay anything to get that physical. So you take it or leave it.
This is a really shitty, but half the time I will go in there just to kind of meander and look around.
I do that too.
I'll find stuff that I like, and then while standing there, I'll check the Amazon price.
I do. Yeah. You know what? That happens all the time. When I worked for Best Buy for like 6 months 90 days. That was the number one thing people did. They would come in, they would ask our expertise on stuff, and then search on Amazon and see if they can get it cheaper.
Yeah.
And I mean, whatever. But I do that same thing, and I know it's shitty, but I do that same thing, and I do that in my own GameStop. In my GameStop here, actually, it's really busy because we have nothing else around.
Mm-hmm.
They're a super busy store. They make tons of money. They don't help you worth shit, and they know they've got you. Because if you want to get used games, you got to go there.
Or if you want it right now, like that, that's the only option.
Right. And I mean, I've even done an order online for pickup, and it says it's ready, and it's not ready when I get there. So, I mean, they're just selecting it's ready just to get you in the store.
Yeah. As again, like I don't like a lot of their business practices.
No, I don't either.
Like, and the amount of times I went in there and the smarmy little shit behind the counter is like, he asked me if I asked him a question, and then it turns out I know more about it than he does.
Yeah.
That shit drives me up the wall.
Like, thank you for being not helpful.
Yeah.
And I understand that not everyone's going to know everything.
Right.
But it's like, at least don't bullshit me.
Yeah, don't pretend.
Right.
Like, if you don't know, fucking
just
tell
say
me that.
so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you catch them in a blatant lie, and then they try and backpedal, and you're not allowed to punch them in the mouth.
Yeah, or the throat.
Right.
Swift punch to the throat goes a long way.
It really does. I don't know. So they have a few merits. Like, I found some really cool shit on sale there before.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
As far as what was it? The S.A. Figuarts Venom figure I bought several years ago from them, I found on clearance, and because I think it was missing one of the hands, I got it for like 40% off. So I'm like, all right, because like it was one of those figures that has multiple interchangeable hands.
Yeah.
It's like, because this is normally I think it was like a $70 figure normally. And I got it for practically nothing in comparison.
Right.
I ended up selling it like 3 months later because I realized like it doesn't fit with the rest of my collection because I have enough shit.
Transformers.
No, like I have a lot of horror figures too. Like I've got a whole setup that's the Todd McFarlane's Clive Barker's. Like I've got Spawn stuff. I've got the Tortured Souls from the Clive Barker. Shit like that. But lately I've been buying like just cutesy random shit too. Like the little figurine I have of it's the alien from the Xenomorph.
Yeah.
Like a cartoon stylized version of the Xenomorph walking a face hugger, and the face hugger is pissing on a fire hydrant while he's checking his phone. Like I saw it and I was like, I fucking need this.
God.
Yeah.
So Eddie, you want to weigh in on this nonsense?
Yeah, in a sense. Okay, so I this is the thing about GameStop, and I have no problem with them. I'm fine with their business. I stop in now and then, and I'll pick some used games up if I'm doing like research or stuff like that. It's kind of it really is funny how everybody blew up when Microsoft was talking about not doing used games for their systems, and how that was kind of the push for everybody to buy a PlayStation 4. Now that digital and stuff like Game Pass and Project X Cloud, if Stadia did work, maybe Stadia and stuff, it's kind of weird to see that shift in digital happening right now that's affecting GameStop. So where are the players at who were mad at Microsoft of the used game system? What happened to you guys now? And because it feels like without you rooting for used games and being for used games, that business practice has shifted and changed, which ends up hurting GameStop. Regardless of you like their practices or not, you was consistently going there, trading in games and buying used games. So what is going on now for GameStop to make these different business choices? I don't know how long GameStop is going to be open. I don't think people are going to be sad about it, but people who are in lower income families and people who don't have a job that could go buy these $50 or $60 games and everything, where are they going to be buying some of their stuff?
I can tell you where. If you're buying your shit on Switch, at the very least, take your ass over to Walmart, because I'm going to tell you right now,
$10 less.
Yeah, like 20% off of MSRP for like everything Switch, brand fucking new.
And Amazon's starting to match that now.
Which means you can get your shit at Walmart, brand new, day of release, cheaper than you can find it used at GameStop.
Yep.
True, but the thing about it is everybody's going to Walmart to do that. Where are people are going to? What other places are people going to go to get that? That's only one place. People are not going to drive out to Best Buy, or Target, or Sam's Club, or wherever in their state. Where else are you going to buy it for cheap? Because if you do Amazon don't deliver your games on at the right time, even if you pre-ordered them. Whether you do Prime or whether you don't do Prime, you're not going to get the game maybe a week and a half or a little bit later after it comes out.
Depends on how big of a game it is. Like bigger named games, like those, usually you will have on release day. Like as I said, smaller games, yeah, you'll wait a little bit. And then there are the situations like me getting fucked over on Darksiders and having to wait a week for the, but. Yeah.
But even if you pre-ordered that to cut to your home and stuff, they should be able to ship that game out to get to you on release date.
This should, yes, I agree completely. But unfortunately, like that's not always the way it works. But
right. So if you're not going to do Amazon because of that, where are you going to do? Don't forget, you are a low income family, and you want to play the latest games. You want to play that Madden and stuff, and all the Maddens are gone at Walmart, and you're not going to pay $50 or $60 or $60 Where you going to go? Your only option then is going to pay 65 plus some dollars to get the game. Buy it off somebody who don't like it, who might charge you more, or you're going to have to buy it digitally. Now, if you started doing your stuff subscription based, maybe you can get the game off of EA or whatever. But it's really going to depend that if people allow GameStop to go out of business, they're the ones that's going to be hurting more than GameStop. Because where are you going to find the games that when you're on a budget that you can't get? Game Pass is fine, but you're playing old games that came out 3 or 4 months ago, and you're paying $10 a month for that.
It's just, I mean, if you can't afford it, Eddie, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I mean, if you can't afford it, you're just going to be getting in later anyway.
Plus, to be fair, their used games are usually only a couple dollars cheaper.
That's true.
Like it's not.
It's not
like,
that big of a
yeah, the discount
Eddie's
isn't
talking
worth
about
it.
I think Eddie's talking about the trade-in factor. Like if I take in 5 games,
Well, not so much the
trade in,
trade.
right?
15
Not so much.
cents for 'em.
Not so well. They're part of the trading factor, yeah. But mostly people who are on a budget who can't buy the game brand new. You know, you can't buy it on release day, or because it's gonna be like some people who are die-hard Call of Duty fans, Grand Theft Auto fans, Madden or just sports game fans and stuff. If they're not able to get a used copy of that game, maybe a week or two later, they're going to be out of the loop unless you get a brand new game. Unless you get a brand new, and there's some people who don't feel like getting brand new games and stuff, they're going to be missing out on some gaming at that time if they're on a budget. People who can afford that, who have no problem, none of that stuff matters to them.
I would like to take a brief momentary pause here to acknowledge the absolute first world problemness of this whole conversation.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm sorry because it's a privileged conversation to have.
Yeah.
But
There's going to be a disclaimer in the show notes. This episode contains first world
Yeah,
problems.
we are sorry.
but that's
This
the
episode
thing.
wants to talk to your manager.
But that's
So wants to talk to Karen.
But that's the thing about it. We're all talking about used games, and going back to the PS4 when they released it, used games were the reason why people bought a PS4. So now that that's all changed, and that used game business is now affecting GameStop, what happened? Where did the change come from? Is it because there was more digital sales and people decided to go digital with stuff? Or is it that because you was going to GameStop, you was at their head and you can't do nothing about it because they're not going to bargain or argue with you. You get it or you don't.
I think that this is that's actually another conversation. I mean, that's like a whole nother topic. Like, why do you shop at GameStop? I think that's like that topic.
A lot of people shop at it because it's cheaper.
Right.
The used game systems to them is cheaper. They don't know where else to go. And if you can't go nowhere else, you have to go there to get stuff if you're on a budget and everything. Or you just want to get that particular game. You have no other choice. Maybe if you people don't want to spend the money to get an external hard drive or know about getting an external hard drive to do digital purchases. Some people don't want to put their credit card in because of what happened with PS3 when that whole thing went down for 3 months. Some people don't want to go to stores and keep buying Xbox Live or eShop cards over and over again to get games. Some people just don't want to do that for some reason. They want the ease of convenience. And if GameStop was their ease of convenience, they're going to go there to get it. If that ease of convenience is taken away from them, then what? What's going to happen? What are they going to do to substitute that? You could say Amazon, that's fine. But
I mean, no, I hear you. I hear you, Eddie. I just don't think that. I don't really think that a lot of those people are going to be going anywhere else. Like if they're going to be buying it, they're going to wait to buy it cheaper on sale. They're going to go to Walmart, or I mean, they're just going to wait for the games. They're going to wait for their digital copy of the game to go down in price.
But that's if that person has the willpower to wait, and if
they really can't afford it, they will be forced to do it. They will be forced to wait.
I completely agree, but there are some people who don't have that willpower to wait.
Right.
Well, then they can have that argument with their bank account.
Right.
But
and the only way that you'll get a good deal out of Amazon is really actually doing Amazon Prime. And if you're willing to spend $100, because that shipping ain't no joke. That game, the shipping and the tax.
So, well, I'm gonna weigh in with just a couple of thoughts so that we don't get too insanely long in the tooth, because I think this might be the first time in a few weeks that we've actually run long.
I apologize.
I'm blaming you thoroughly, by the way.
Gotta blame somebody.
So, and Eddie's not around often enough for him to come back and really argue about it. So, but in any case, I do think that there's one. How many times over the last several years have we all seen the articles posted that, holy shit, it's the end of GameStop and it just won't fucking die? It's like some awful failure-resistant strain of venereal disease that just won't go the hell away.
Multiple, and I think people will just be upset because they went to GameStop and didn't get what they expected to get.
No, I expect to get bullshit.
Like maybe service, or maybe they had the game too high or something. They probably went to a GameStop and thought they would come away with something that they expected, and that didn't happen. So they got upset or anger, and there you go. Have a story like that.
So as much as this is, being purported around of, the end of GameStop, I don't think it's the end of GameStop. I sympathize for some people that are losing their jobs, because that shit does suck, plain and simple. Not to put too fine a point on it. But I will say after one of my more recent experiences with GameStop, I don't feel bad for certain people and or aspects, like the fact that I was blatantly lied to when they tried to hawk their membership card at me, and telling me that stupid $5 coupon can roll over and stack month over month.
Damn.
I'm like, oh, bullshit, it does. Take that and fuck right off. But in any case, so two, there's so many points and places where GameStop just went horribly wrong. The simple fact of the matter is that presently they just are not competing anywhere in terms of used games. And I know it's where they make their money. That's where their profit margin is. But the problem is, you guys aren't pricing intelligently to really drive those sales. Like, seriously, if you'd cut your prices on some of that, yeah, you'll lose a little bit on the margin, but you'll make it up in volume. But you refuse to do that. And it's the ever-present cycle of anybody struggling in the death throes of business, and so it's a fucking shame.
But then it depends on what people are turning in a lot compared to what people are not. Because if everybody giving you Madden, that last version of Madden, compared to Xenoblade Chronicles on Wii being turned in, which you think gonna hold more value, and which you think more people will turn in and stuff for them to do the pricing structure, I should say.
Yeah, sports games are a whole different conversation when it comes to the used game market, and we're not touching that. But however, that being said, they're apparently sitting on a stockpile of retro shit.
Yep.
If you had shifted your focus of that into your brick and mortar stores
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd fucking have something, because here they've done none of that, at least not around us. On top of that too, it's like this new concept store stuff that they're rolling out. Don't concept store it. Fucking get on that shit. Just blanket that shit across. You'd be doing a whole lot better.
Yep.
It just there's so many blatant missteps that every one of us looks at and goes, why? And I can only feel so bad, watching them struggle when there's obvious answers right in front of them the whole time that they just keep fucking ignoring. There's a painful out of touchedness. They obviously started leaning in real hard onto the toys, buying up ThinkGeek, and then, case in point, that'll be going up this week. We unboxed the arm cannon and opened it up. We popped some batteries in. It didn't work. On top of that, it took me a couple shots at buying one, because the store where I pre-ordered it, the one they got, box was fucking beat to hell. I'm like, I don't want this. If you're going to sell collectibles, learn how to ship and treat your stuff that way.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so
because look at our collections. We want that on a shelf.
We want pretty things. Sue us.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I hadn't gotten to tell you this, Michael, but I stopped by the GameStop on the way home between your house and my house. Went to swap it out. We opened it up there. That one didn't work either.
Oh, sweet shit.
So I had to go to the one over by fucking Burlington.
So they're having like a 50% rate of shit not working.
Apparently.
And for a $60 collectible, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like if it was $10, I totally get it.
So it's only 60, but it's $60 where you guys live?
Yeah.
So where I live, it's 100.
For the arm cannon?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I went in there the other day and they had it. It was $100, $99.99.
Oh, that's fucking horse shit.
So that's another problem they got to deal with. And I understand like having things priced in different markets differently, but that's ridiculous.
Hey, but hey, if the demand is there and people want it, they have no choice but to pay.
Like I said before, it's because in my market there's nothing here. I mean, they're competing with Best Buy and Walmart. Walmart across the street, because wherever you have a GameStop, you have a Walmart. And Best Buy is about 15 minutes down the road, which a lot of people think that's too far, so they don't go there.
So, and then on top of that, I'm going to throw one last piece in there, which I'm sure is going to feel counterintuitive to fucking GameStop executives. However, missed opportunity by not running up a partnership like Best Buy did with limited run games.
Yep. Yes. Absolutely. Especially to get the collector in there.
Yeah.
Get the person that is actually going to buy from you.
Get your target demographic in your store, because you're losing it to everywhere else.
So frustrating.
The concept of being able to walk into a brick and mortar store and pre-order limited run games like that would be
blow your mind. Blow your mind. Yeah.
But see, once again, it depends on how many people are buying stuff like that and we are willing to do it.
I see tons of people posting and getting all hyped about the fact they could walk into Best Buy and they found a copy of fucking Time Spinner and Lumines that they missed on LRG.
And
I'm sorry or whatever.
Yeah. And I'm not. And if they would have, if gamers would pay attention more to that, I think GameStop and them would pay more attention to that. Meaning that people will really want to get a limited run game, and get some of these indie physical games. Because some GameStops may feel like the people who come in, they have stuff like that, but it's a small percentage of it that stuff being purchased. Trust me, if they was doing limited run, if they was doing ridiculous stuff, if they had Ikaruga on physical right now at GameStop, I will walk into that store and buy it.
I would too, in a
Yeah.
heartbeat.
Yeah, I would too.
You know,
And they might, because I don't think Ikaruga is going to end up as a limited edition. I think it was getting a standard retail
Standard.
release, wasn't it?
it may have, but
'Cause I don't think they've actually like announced any details on it other than it's just happening at some point finally.
yeah,
Last I saw. But I mean, and the thing is, there's still other companies, you know, like solid companies they could be partnering with and like rectifying that fucking mistake.
Right.
You know, you've still got ones that are free agents right now, so to speak, like super rare or special reserve.
if I was GameStop, I would go with Get Fan Gamer.
You should go with more than one, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, you could
wrap
go
those up.
You can go to things,
that's
but
what
Fan Gamer.
That's what GameStop does. Is they do games. They
Yeah.
should be chewing up as much of this as they can
Yeah.
to cater to gamers.
Yeah.
You know,
Because the pre-order thing doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work. You know,
And shit like this could help rectify some of that for them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That would make a shit ton of sense.
Yeah.
Like,
So
if they're able to do the exclusive stuff with some of the Nintendo games, do the exclusive stuff with the limited run games.
Yeah.
Go ahead. The Double Dragon collection only could be bought at GameStop.
I'd be all over that shit.
Do something like that, because I'm like, if you already doing stuff like that, like I said, if you're already doing that stuff with Nintendo, do it with some of the indie games. You would get the collectors in to pre-order or to walk in your store and buy it. You want to attract customers to your business, and if that stuff will attract to them, GameStop would be surprised, be like, we need to get more indie stuff in companies and do business deals with them so we could get more business if our used game stuff is not working for us.
GameStop's upper corporate management has just fucking taken the piss and has gotten completely disconnected from their target demographic, and it's no wonder they keep fucking circling the drain. It's just a question of, you know, how many fucking rotations they can make before they finally just get flushed.
Yeah,
Right.
they're not gamer minded, they're business minded.
Right.
So if
They're gonna take their money and go.
right, if they're only seeing dollars and not what makes them to get the dollars, that's the problem. That's right there. They need to look into stuff. Be like, okay, we're not making money. Let's see, what are the gamers doing? Let's see what the trend that people are buying into games. What is more affordable? How do we get them into our store? Let us research and actually go to our stores and look around. And if none of them are doing that, just be like, you need to get 5 pre-orders and make us money. If that's their business mind, GameStop is going to be out of business really soon. They got to go out and do some research. They got to get in touch with what gamers and consumers want and need.
I thought they had a solid step in the right direction with their new concept store stuff that they're doing, but it's like you need to just get that out across the board instead of just, you know, playing with it in a couple of locations. But
Well, what do you mean concept store? I haven't heard anything about that.
I'll send you a link because we're
Okay.
getting a little long. With that said here, I think here's a solid place to wrap it up. I'm going to throw in one last thought here. And I'm going to direct this at somebody who will never hear this, but dear GameStop corporate management, fucking get your shit together or just close up shop. Pick one. That's all I got. I'm tired of fucking hearing it. You know, fix it or fail, but move on. So, but with that said, thank you to all my friends for coming and hanging out with me today. Thank you to Michael and Eddie for turning up from the dead for a change, and Josh, who I saw him hiding from, I'm assuming, one of the parents who opened a door briefly in the background, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's his dad. But in any case, thank you to everybody that came and hung out and listened and or watched us on YouTube. Your pick. You know, as always, if you liked this, or even if you hated it, we still encourage you to finger the subscribe button or the follow button, or, you know, just insert us gently with much lubrication into your RSS feed. Don't worry, it'll fit, I promise. Yeah, we went there.
I need an adult.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not adult enough for this conversation.
But in any case, fuck it. We're gonna wrap it there. So, we'll catch you guys later. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time on World 1 Podcast.
Peace.